Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Paper Mario. I am Maker400 and we are heading off to Starborn Valley, so let's go there. Or just stand around, that's good too. Standing's good. So, last time we solved a penguin murder mystery, and this time we are... No, we're done here. We're leaving. Bye-bye. We're not going to deal with you. You've been annoying us 5 times throughout this entire game. We don't want to deal with you anymore. What is the... I don't even see what your point is for following us. What do? We just went to your playground? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, this time he has something a little different up his sleeve. He can now use... As you'll see in a second, he can now use magic. He is now a magician. And he's not really that hard. He's still pretty... he's still pretty simple to beat. So yeah. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about something else, because I'm sick of him. Boring movies are the worst movies ever made, in my opinion. If a movie is boring, it is worse than if it's badly made. Like, for a biopic project I was doing for film, I watched Ed Wood. Now, if you don't know who Ed Wood is, and this is the Tim Burton movie Ed Wood, but Ed Wood was a movie maker back in the 50s who made, like, Plan 9. You may have heard of the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space. He made horrible sci-fi science fiction movies that were, like, really, they had horrible dialogue. They just, bad, he never did any recuts. They just, overall, were just bad movies. They had bad production. They were just very, bad special effects, bad direction overall. They just were really bad movies. And a lot of people have cited that Yul Ball, if you don't know who he is, he makes video game-based movies, is the Ed Wood of our generation, because he also makes really bad movies. My thing, though, is boring movies are worse than those. Because the thing, like, the phrase, they're so bad, they're good. Well, no one really even actually explains what that actually means. And in my opinion, maybe people know what they mean already, but in my opinion, what it means though is, it's so bad it's good, as in that it has horrible production quality. It's got, it's not made well. The production of it's not good. It's not produced well. It's not made well, as in, it's like, it's like an art piece that's made horribly. But the thing is, it may not be made good, but it's the fact that it's so horrible, the horribleness of it, the absurdity of a lot of the things in those bad movies, it makes it even more all entertaining to watch. Like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, for example. It's a horrible, bad movie, but it's fun to watch. I mean, it's bad, in my opinion at least. It's fun, it's hilarious to watch. It's really, really bad, yet it's a really, enjoyable movie to watch, only because it's so absurd. And, that's what, like, the fact that it's so bad makes it so good. You want to make sure to get that letter, as you saw. It's kind of one of the more hidden letters in this game. Here we got, the Frost Piranhas, and Gold Pits. Gold Pits, are kind of interesting. They're like one of the few enemies that never appear ever again. Like Clubbas appear in the next game. I don't know, wait. Well, they'll technically, but they don't really appear in terms of like enemies. I don't think there's any club enemies. But yeah, Gold Pits don't appear anymore. I really like Gold Pits. But they're actually, yeah, a lot of these enemies in this chapter are really difficult. Personally, they're like really, have really high HP, and they're actually kind of really hard. Maybe I'm just really bad, but I think they're quite difficult. A lot of these enemies. So anyway, but yeah, like Super Mario Bros. Movie is entertaining, but it's really bad. Now, a boring movie, on the other hand, a movie that, I mean, in my opinion, a movie's main purpose is to, a movie's main purpose, first and foremost, is to entertain. Or at least hold the person's attention. I mean, movies are long. So the thing is, even if it's not to entertain you, if a movie can't hold your attention, it's not a good movie. I mean, no matter what its main purpose is, if it's not an entertaining movie. They'll usually, like, I mean, documentaries usually I think are also used to entertain, but even if they're not, they still need to hold your attention, right? So, oh wait, let me hold that thought for a second, because we're going to, well, In a second, we're going to be facing a boss, as you'll see here. Bwah. Turn back, come no further, turn away or I'll eat you. What do you think, scary monster? Aren't I? You know you want to run. Nah, I'm gonna fight you. You don't look that scary. What? Do you really regret this? So, here is Monstar, and my challenge for this boss was only to use Star Spirit powers and Star items, or in shooting stars. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty tough challenge to do. I never actually done it before, but I think it was it'll be a good what? No, what? So yeah, you you can't use any. That's the one thing that's interesting about this boss. He's the only boss that, or only enemy in the game that the Star Spirit powers and Shooting Star won't affect at all. Shooting Star affects all enemies except for him, and you'll see why. But this is a really pathetic, easy boss. It's more just a story battle. Like he has this attack, it'll do 1 damage to you. So yeah, if you lose this boss, you should just stop living right now. I'm just sorry, you should. But anyway, back onto my points about boring movies. A movie's main purpose is to entertain. If it doesn't entertain, it's not a good movie. Now, an example would be in film class we watched a movie called The Thin Red Line. Now, I don't know if its main purpose was not to be entertaining, if it was more just to be thought-provoking. But even in that regard, it fails. Here's my reasoning, and I'm gonna make a bold statement saying the Super Mario Bros. Movie is a better movie than that, and I'll explain it in what I'm saying. First off, it's really boring. It's just really a boring movie. I mean, it's about 3 hours long if I remember correctly. I love that expression. Oh, look, they're Star Kids. Overall, it's really long. The plot doesn't flow well. It's drawn out way too much. It doesn't even need to be that long. Almost all of the dialogue seems to be people or voiceovers or people trying to be profound. None of the characters get introduced well. Like there's times in which we're supposed to feel bad for characters, but none of them I didn't get connected to any of the characters. There's not any good characterization. Just overall, it was a war movie, and it's just a very boring movie. I mean, none of the action was interesting. It was all very drawn-out action, and none of it was interesting. I mean, it was so bad I wanted to gouge my eyes out with a spoon because it was so boring. It didn't hold my attention. I mean, maybe there was good parts of it. Sure, maybe it was in some it could have good production. I mean, it's been. I think it's a movie that actually has some good critical acclaim, and it was, considered critically good. But and yeah, this is Frosty. This is another part of the letter side quest. This is the second to last letter we need for the long letter quest, as I'll be delivering it here. But yeah, it may have some good parts to it, but the thing is, it's boring, and in that sense, it fails to hold my attention, and it fails to be entertained on both parts, and because of that, it automatically, in my opinion, it just isn't a good movie. I mean, if I can't even watch the movie because it's so boring, then it's not a good movie. And in that sense, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is better because it's so bad, it's good because it can actually entertain me, it can actually keep my attention. And Ed Wood's movies did that. Now, I can't really say that Yoel Ball's movies do that, I don't know. But because I don't think they're as funny, personally. I don't think they're not, like, they're bad, but they're not as bad in terms of being so absurd. I don't know. But, the main thing is, though, that that movie just really was so boring and so dull, and, I know I said before, I said that there are movies that are so bad it's good, and the production is horrible, and how can the person who's making it feel good about themselves? True, but at the same time, how can someone who's making such a boring movie feel good about themselves? Making such a boring movie well, I guess you could feel good. I guess the difference is you can feel good about making a boring movie because you actually put work into it, but in terms of the viewer, the bad movie actually is better for the viewer than the boring movie. In terms of the person who is critically analyzing, the bad movie is worse. But in terms of the audience that it's intended for, or not intended for, but the audience is watching it, I guess, that's, the difference between critics and the audience. The audience's main purpose is to be entertained. the critics' main purpose is to have an enjoyable movie that's, you know, thought-provoking, or just overall just, you know, a very decent experience, and it's produced well. And what we want, though, is you want a movie that's does both, entertains and it does critical. It's you know, a decent produced movie. And the problem is, you really get critics and audiences agree because they're looking for different things. So my main thing is, again, balance. That's the main thing. So anyway, we need to go to Crystal Palace. We got the scarf, which we'll need to get there, and we'll need to go get a bucket from, or another item from, it's a bucket. But that's about all the time I have from Silver City. This has been making fun, reminding you, ice, again.